Welcome to Count It Off with your host, Jeff Dayton, where we explore the world of music through the eyes of some fascinating guests. So get tuned up and let's count it off.
Count It Off Studios is on the road here at Total Country Bob FM in Ramsey, Minnesota, and I have none other than the world-famous Neil Freeman.
Well, world famous maybe in my mind. I don't know if anybody else would agree, but
Well, that's humble of you, man. But it's such a gas to be here with you and to have you take time. And
it's an honor.
How are you
Thank
feeling
Jeff.
today? You feeling good?
Good. Fantastic. It's a holiday season.
It
What
is.
not to be feeling good about? So
Did you? When we just passed Thanksgiving when we record this, how was your Thanksgiving?
awesome. It's been a tradition at my house that I host Thanksgiving. Even when both my parents were still alive, I said, "Mom, you do," as so many of our moms did, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, all our birthdays, everything. She'd work her tail off in the kitchen to make it all happen. And so I said, "We're going to start giving you Thanksgiving off. I'm going to do it at my house." And I remember, and these were the days where we had to be at the radio station. There was no pre-recording and that. So I would get up at 4 a.m. and put the turkey in, jump in my truck, go to work, come back, and the turkey would be done. It would be noon or 11 in the morning. The turkey been in for 6-7 hours. And then we'd have my whole family over. I had 4 brothers and sisters, and some of their families and kids, and so sometimes we had some big groups. I had 14 this year, counting grandkids and whatnot. So it's a manageable number, and we had a blast.
That is so, and that's the way Thanksgiving ought to be when you got family around.
It's my favorite holiday.
Next year, can you find a 15th chair for me? Because
You told me.
I had Thanksgiving at Waffle House.
Well, I'm sure that's fine. I don't know how their stuffing is, but
No, I just had eggs.
yeah.
Cheesy grits, the whole thing, extra bacon,
Yeah.
Sausage and gravy,
You would be welcome at and I do the old fashioned. I get out the old grinder, and we're grinding up the giblets and the innards, and then I save my bread from the bread crust from all year in my pantry, and I crunch those up to make my own stuffing, and still stuff the bird. And we some in, some out, and then you mix it together, and you get the perfect moisture content for stuffing.
The taste of the stuffing in the bird is always better, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And I don't know, now it's not, you're not supposed to do that. And we've done it for 60 years. None of us have ever gotten sick from stuffing.
Goes in my family too.
Yeah.
My grandmother, my mom, my sister, everybody. Well, what a blast to be here and talk to you and get to know you a little bit. Our world of music is what we're working on here with the podcast.
I love it.
And I do too. And it's exploring different careers, different things. It's all related to music. And you're here at my favorite radio station in the world, which I only say to people when I'm there.
Yeah, I know how that works.
Total Country Bob FM. But you guys have a great approach to things because you're not part of a corporate programming thing. You play what you want to play.
Well,
And it's evident when I'm on your show, you guys have had me guesting in there for years. And if you get an idea, you might just spin that record.
we are not tied into any huge conglomerate that dictates every song that we play. And we've made a commitment to 80s, 90s country predominantly, mixing in the classics, the Waylon and Willie and Johnny and Glenn Campbell and stuff that you are very familiar with. And then we also, as we have talked many times, we both feel strongly, it's not Nashville here, but there's a lot of talent in Minnesota and the Twin City area. And we have become a voice for that, as we like to call it, homegrown talent. You're a Minnesota native, and we love playing your music and so many others. And you've gotten to know so many other musicians here in the Twin Cities area and have worked with them when they come to Nashville to do stuff or when you're back here. And the quality is so good. And the musicianship, the vocal work is strong enough where it doesn't sound out of place to play George Strait and Clint Black and then Jeff Dayton or Shane Martin or Hitchville or any of these other Minnesota bands. So it's great for the artists, and it's great for us, and it has helped grow our audience.
And, your loyalty to the locals and our loyalty to you is a great symbiotic thing.
Woke up in my truck, parked on the beach. Last night's party's still a mystery. This ain't my dog, these ain't my clothes, but I always say whatever floats your boat. Hey! I grew up on the straight and narrow. I couldn't wait to put a bend in my arrow. Daddy said rules ain't made to be broke, but Mama said, son, whatever floats your boat. If it tells your story, if it soothes your soul, you should never say sorry for the way you roll. When you look at your life, when you're old and gray, do you want to say you lived it someone else's way? I read a slip outside of Catalina, got the biggest dreams in the whole marina. I found my freedom where the four winds blow. As soon as the bank says they'll float my boat. Come on, make it float.
A big part of it was our charity project that we've done for 10 years that you've been a part of. I don't know if you want to go into all of it, but it's a cool thing, and we raised a lot of money for Minnesota military families and our first responders and their support. That's just added to our homegrown feel and the talent level here. We get to show it off.
Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute, but first I want to go back to you in the beginning. And everybody says, where are you from? Where were you raised? What got you going? So go for it.
Yeah, I grew up in Hopkins, Minnetonka area. Went to what was then Hopkins Lindbergh. Now it's just Hopkins High School, but across the street from me went to Minnetonka. We were right on the border. So I grew up in Hopkins, and I got into radio after I'd already gotten out of high school, been to college for a little while, didn't finish, got a job offer in retail in Iowa. It's a long story, but I spent a couple of years in Iowa. Then I came back home, and eventually my freshman college roommate, who was a childhood friend also, his mom and my mom had gone to college together. And then we were freshmen, and we ended up being roommates. We didn't plan on it, but we just got thrown in together at Bethel College. And we were both heavily into sports, play-by-play especially. He got a hold of me because there was a radio station that wanted in St. Paul that wanted to do some Bethel MIAC basketball and hockey. And they asked if there was somebody at the college who could do the play-by-play and the color. And my buddy was working in the sports information office, said, oh, yeah, we got a couple of guys. Well, it was him and me. We had never done a game together. We had never done any games.
Perfect.
But we listened to Herb Carneal call the Twins, and Al Shaver call the North Stars, and Ray Christensen call the Gophers, and Ray Scott, and all these other great announcers. And we talked sports and play-by-play all the time. So we did it, and we did 6 games of each. And the station say, "Well, you guys did a great job. Will you do the State Boys basketball for us in 1979?" Wow! And so we did the State Boys basketball tournament, and then. I got out of radio for a few years, but when I moved back, I said, I think, and that was the most fun I ever had, was doing those games. So I said, I'm going to see if my mom and dad will let me move back home. I went to school at Brown College. I got a radio degree in about 1 year's time, and I started in radio at KRWB in Roseau, Minnesota.
Hockey town there.
Hockey town, and I was the hockey play-by-play guy for Roseau and War Road, two hockey powers. And this was I moved up there the day after Christmas, 1986, and I called my first hockey game on December 27th. The next day, it was Roseau at Fergus Falls. I'll never forget it. It was my first game, by myself at it's something that I was going to try and make a career out of. And
So you
it
knew all
went well.
along that was what you were going to do.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I did play-by-play for a number of years in Roseau, then here at Kano, in Anoka, Kano. That station was unfortunately kind of in financial straits that I didn't know about. All of a sudden our paychecks were bouncing. I go, well, this is a problem. I was married, had a family, I had a young son. I go, I can't have paychecks bouncing. So I was really about to get out of radio. And I literally had called my then wife and said, I don't know, I might have to get a real job again. And that bothers me because I love radio as midday announcing and little announcing. I was doing more sales and sports. And the phone rang 10 minutes later, right before I walked out the door. And the late Todd Rust called and he said, hey, I'm Todd Rust, WQPM in Princeton. I'm looking for a sports director and a midday guy, and I hear you're the man.
Wow.
And I said, thank you, Lord. Yes, I am the man.
That's where it comes from.
And I've been here for now since June 26, 1989.
Wow.
Still here.
I have a confession as far as announcing sports. When I was a kid and the hockey tournament and the basketball tournaments were happening in Minnesota, I pretended to do play-by-play in the basement of our house, running around with a little Nerf ball and a tiny goal up by the wall. And I was calling play-by-play on my state tournament.
You were doing it.
I was doing it.
I love it.
And I remember as a kid, my grandfather, George Dayton, in 1963, used to take me to the Gopher games that year. And Carl Eller was a senior
nice.
at Memorial Stadium, and it was bitter cold, but we always had a picnic basket that Granny put together for us, and halftime we'd come out to the car and have our lunch. And I remember the announcer. Stevens takes the ball on the 44-yard line. You know, the guy that announced the Gopher games. I just, there's something about that appealed to me.
The guy on the radio or the guy in the stadium? In the stadium. Yeah, Julie Pearl, I think was his name.
And he announced the hockey, too.
Yes, and he did the basketball. He did a basketball at Williams Arena, yeah.
One of those unforgettable voices.
And then the voice was Ray Christensen, who was on WCCO at all the Gopher games for many, many, many years.
You know, you think about those voices in your childhood, and I think about how much that meant to me, you know, and hearing the Cannon Mess on CCO, and, all those guys, John Hines. I mean, it
was showbiz, right?
Yeah, it just really is. And, you know, I'm glad you're doing it the organic way, live, right there, you know, from behind the microphone and entertaining folks. And you make us all feel at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's been a blessing. I'm just so lucky to do what I do.
All of music people need you guys. What is the route for the musician? Let's just say there's a band here in Minnesota and they're trying to get on Bob FM. What do they need to know ahead of time, and then how do they need to reach out to you guys?
Well, we do. I'd say, I don't know if it's every week, but pretty close. We get music sent to us by homegrown talent, or even out of state. They hear. I mean, sometimes they just blast it out to radio stations. But specifically, we look for Minnesota people is where we want to go, and we have a homegrown show that we've been doing for many years. That's an hour on Sunday afternoons of nothing but Minnesota and homegrown talent. Original music is what we kind of try and focus on. I mean, that's, as an artist, it's fun to do Glenn Campbell songs and these other songs that you've been a part of, but it's really cool to write and record your own songs and hear those on the radio, and that's what we look for, and that has kind of been our MO to these artists that want to get something on. We, write a song, record it. It's got to be quality recording. I mean, like we talked about, you're going to play George Strait and Clint Black, and then Jeff Dayton. If the professionalism isn't there, it's not going to make the cut. So I would say, make sure the production quality and value is very high.
Showed up late on Friday, snuck out around noon, made the most of my weekend, but Monday came too soon. I've been burning this candle, both ends every day. I've got a new way to handle what life throws my way. I'll take it with a grain of salt, splash of lime in my alcohol. Just Jose Cuervo and me, toe tapping on my two left feet. Everything's gonna be just fine. The sun can't always shine call from the boss man. Said he's letting me go. So I shipped my farmer's tan down to old Mexico. Still got a mortgage, still got bills I can't pay, but I'm in no hurry. My worries, I wash them away. I'll take it with a grain of salt, splash of lime in my alcohol, sun-kissed senoritas and me, a little blanket on a sandy beach. Everything's gonna be just fine. Down here the sun always shines, but if a little rain should fall, I'll take it with a grain of salt. There's no cure for the blues like the blue of the ocean, and beautiful girls in bikinis and coconut lotion.
I would suggest some people send us songs that are 5.5 minutes long. Not ideal. That's not what we call radio friendly. Chances of something like that playing aren't very good. I would say 2.5 to 4 minutes in length is a much better play.
And I think 4 is a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of 4 minutes ballads. Vince Gill was the king of 4-minute ballads, but he's Vince Gill. Okay, all right. There's some, yeah.
One night we were playing behind Vince Gill at the Phoenix Open one year with my band, and Glenn Campbell was in the front row, and it was so much fun. And Vince turned to me and said, "Take it," and I thought he said, "Fake it," because that's what I was doing. And we had a blast, and we finished the show, and Glenn jumped right up on stage to talk to us afterwards. He said, "You guys sound great with Vince," and then we were like, "Thanks, Glenn, that's great." And then he said, "How come you don't play this good when you play with me?" And our keyboard player, Noel Kirkland, said, "Well, you ain't no Vince Gill."
Well, hi-yo. Yeah.
And we all fell out because, I mean, once you get Glenn, there's no defending it. You know, he just, I love picking on him.
But that's kind of what we look for.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and Brandon Baxter now is our home guy. We've had a lot of talented people that have, well, there's been 3, and PT, who was here for years and really had a big heart for our homegrown talent.
Sure
and
did.
he kind of turned the corner with our homegrown show and really made it a thing. And it is now. I mean, but I've had so many homegrown talent say, you know, I want to thank you, because the first time I heard my song on the radio, you played it, and driving down the road, and then my song came on the radio. It was me, and it was the biggest thrill of their life, you know.
Man.
And
I know that feeling.
Yeah, but I said, you know, the thing to take away from that is, you know, if the song wasn't any good, we wouldn't have played it.
Yeah.
So, you know, kudos to you for writing and producing and recording something that is that kind of quality.
Thank you. Well, sometimes I get a text message from Stru from the 4 Outdoorsmen, and I love that guy.
He's a beauty.
He really is, and I met those guys early on, but he'll send me a little movie of his dashboard listening to Bob, and they're playing one of my songs, and he sends it to me just to say, "Attaboy, buddy.
Yeah.
Go get him." Yeah.
It's fun.
Shout out to those guys, by the way, the 4 Outdoorsmen, and they're on right after the Homegrown show.
Yep.
And you
on
can
Sunday
catch that.
afternoons.
Yeah, and that you can catch that online.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, this is going to be fun to expand the radio part of this whole adventure with you, and I really thank you for your time doing this. I mean,
It's a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, and I love that we got to play a little game called Right or Wrong.
That was
earlier.
fun.
Yeah, it was on the air. Hopefully Jimmy
Yeah.
recorded it, and we can
I'm sure it did.
grab a copy of that, because it was pretty funny. But we'll do that with some future guests. But, you know, thank you again. Tell us about anything you've got coming up in the future that you want to let people know about.
Well, you know, we have transitioned away from our Minnesota Country Salute CD, which was a major 10-year project, a charity piece that we did fourth quarter for 10 years, and it involved artists like yourself and all Minnesota talent and original music. And we raised money for, not only do we have a big heart here at this radio station, it's from ownership on down, for our homegrown talent and musicians, but also for our Minnesota military and their families, and now our first responders and their families and their support groups. So we wanted to find another way to raise money, because nobody buys CDs anymore.
You know that all too well. I got boxes of souvenirs.
Yeah, I mean, we got a room full of them here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it was still great. We raised over $262,000 during that 10 years. But we said, now what can we transition into that will be fun and the listeners will enjoy, and we can continue to raise money for those two organizations because they're special to us.
That's great. I know you guys are faith-based ownership too, and I
sure.
love that. And, the fact that you go out into the community brings up another question. You guys are at concerts. You're at basically at the oil change place. I mean, anywhere that you can reach your listeners, and you're at the Minnesota State Fair every year. And I have really loved being part of that stage out there. Met a lot of people. In fact, I just met this group called Leaving Pagetown this year. And you just had them on the Homegrown show a week or two ago.
Yeah, they're good people.
They really are, and they're a wonderful couple with sincere hearts, and they're from up there at Malacca.
Yeah.
I can't even say that right. And we just wrote their signature song called "Leaving Pagetown," but that's because of participating in this. But you guys go out and you meet your people. You introduce shows at all kinds of venues. Do you have a favorite of between being on the air here in the station or being out there with the people? What do you like?
I really do enjoy getting out. I mean, I've done hundreds of concert welcomes, and that's been a true joy and a blessing for my career. So I mean, getting out and meeting people. And doing the concert welcomes is something that I really enjoy. And I'm older and my kids are grown, and so I have a lot more time than some of the other people here at the station. So I guess for better, for worse, you could maybe say I'm kind of the face of the franchise just because my schedule allows as much as anything. I'm no better than anybody else, but I just have more opportunity just because of my schedule. But, I think I look back and, to get to spend 10 minutes with Johnny Cash, just he and I backstage at the Medina before I went out with him, and all the greats from the 70s, 80s, 90s, the Oak Ridge Boys, Waylon, Willie, Johnny. I've gotten to introduce 3 of the 4 Highwaymen, and, not everybody gets that. And, anybody that played practically in the 80s and 90s, I've had a chance to introduce. The list is long. Like you say, it's literally been hundreds of shows.
And a lot of my friends have been on shows that you do that for.
Sure.
I mean, Eddie Kilgallen from Montgomery Gentry, now Eddie Montgomery, and you've been with him a couple of times, I know. And gosh, you named some of the gold of the gold.
Right.
Do you have a couple favorites that stand out? Like you just could not. Tell me about Toby Keith, because we lost him, and we were thinking about him a lot. There's a band up here that does his music, and I heard you talking about them.
There's a tribute band that's coming to town. I never actually met, sadly, Toby. I know you have many times, so you can speak more. But I mean, you talk about a guy whose music fit our format. It's God and country, and that's certainly Toby to a T. I saw him several times in concert. It's harder to introduce the super high echelon ones, the Tobys, the Tim McGraws, the George Strait, because a lot of times they make those no radio station because they don't want to show favoritism. How one station in the market got to be on stage to introduce them, and the other one Phil slighted.
And you've got 2 corporate stations in town that kind of sit on that if they get a chance. Yeah,
correct.
It's like when I was in Phoenix and we had Camel and KNIX, and the 2 of them each kind of proprietarily had, this is our show, this is their show, that kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
But you've gotten to see, I mean, everybody from Paycheck to, David Allan Coe, and anybody that's coming through town that's on your playlist, probably.
Yeah.
We talk about Diamond Rio. I'm sorry you're going to miss them this time, but great pals of mine. And, everybody that's on that 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And Shenandoah.
Shenandoah several times. Restless Heart. Blackhawk, of course. I've gotten to be personal friends with Henry Paul from Blackhawk, and we get to hang out when he comes to town. I'm going to Nashville to see him at the Music City Winery in 2025. Martina McBride, Susie Bogus, Kathy Mattea, Pam Tillis, Lori Morgan, several times with Lori, and now Daryl Worley. I've got to know Daryl, and just anybody who had a song in the 80s and 90s outside of the megastars, the Kenny Chesneys, the ones that you get to meet. But if they were on the A- side, there's a pretty good chance I saw him or introduced him. Don Williams, still one of my all-time favorites.
Love
He was
Don.
just awesome.
Yeah.
And what a nice guy. And Gary Allen's kind of my new favorite. And I was just on his bus and hanging out. We had a shot together before he went out on stage to kill the show. And yeah, Gary's great. So so blessed to be able to do. For a guy with no talent, Jeff, this is a good thing.
Yeah. So if you've got no talent, you can coach PE.
Yes.
Or you can do radio.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, that's awesome. And, we're just kidding, of course, because you're a great guy and all the work you do with everybody. I mean, people talk so highly of you because you live highly. I mean, you're a noble person, and that's a great level.
That,
we all aspire towards something that means something with our families, our kids. I got 5 kids and 3 grandies, and I know how it feels to be a parent,
Yeah. I got 2 boys and 3 grandsons now. My older son's going to school to become a police officer here. Minnesota. He wants to serve and give back and be a good example for his boys. And it's great being a dad and a granddad for sure, man.
If you had a wish list of somebody you could introduce on stage and somebody that, realistically you might have a shot at, is there anybody that you've really not gotten to work with yet that you would just like, man, I would just love to meet this guy?
And I know Alan Jackson probably isn't touring anymore, but I'm a big fan of AJ.
Yeah. We managed him with, published him with Glenn Campbell Music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean,
seems like a great guy. I don't know if you ever run across or had a chance to visit with him. He's a super good dude.
Before I was even with Glenn, I was at Marty Gamblin's office in Nashville, his publisher, and Marty said, "Hey Jeff, this is Alan Jackson. We just signed him, and you guys should write together." And I was like, "No, I didn't even do it."
Yeah,
I could have been on here in the real world.
That would have been good.
That would have been a good kiss starter. Who else comes to mind?
But Alan Jackson for sure. Pretty big Tim McGraw fan. I like his early stuff a lot. I never got to meet Tim, but I really liked it. I mean, I was playing his music since he was a nobody. Since, I knew him more as Tug McGraw's son than as an artist, right? I was a big baseball fan, so I was a fan of his father, and glad that they patched their relationship up. But, Tim McGraw, some of his early stuff from Indian Outlaw, and I really enjoyed his music. So, and one of my all-time favorite is My Next 30 Years, written by Phil Vassar, who is another guy that I've met and introduced several times. Phil's great. Really good guy, but I would say Tim and Alan Jackson would be in that category. And we're different here. I mean, I don't know the new artists very well. I'm not exposed to them because of what we do here. We don't play that music, so I'm kind of more in the if you're past 2010, I don't know. You're not really in our particular wheelhouse. But I never got to introduce Martina McBride. I did get to interview her. But we didn't get a chance. I would have liked to have met her in person. So I would take another run at it because she is just super skilled and love her voice. But those are some that come to mind. And as far as people ask, well, who's your favorite singer? And I've kind of got 2. Waylon is my all-time guy. I mean, if I can listen to Waylon music for hours and hours and not want to change the station, right? Okay. And then I'm a big Gary Allen fan. As a songwriter and just as the vibe he gives. I mean, he's man's man, and he's been through some tough times. I like Survivors. And he is, and it's reflected in his music, and I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I think Keith Urban's a good example of that.
Keith Urban's another guy.
He's turned his life around, and he's just rocking the world. I saw him on Kelly Clarkson just recently, and what a great interview, and what a positive dude.
Yeah.
And
what a player.
I told you guys on air, like if Keith called in the middle of our time on the air, I would have walked out of the studio and said, "See, guys, I got to go with Keith."
I did meet Keith. I should revise my story here. He had just come out. And he had just had his first song, By the Grace of God, was out. I don't know, there might be one prior to that. And he was playing the Medina, where everybody has played.
Yeah, where the Blacktop Ends was out then too.
Right, where the Black. So anyway, I'd heard a song or two. I said, this guy's pretty good, but there was something big going on. I don't know if it was a girl or something that I had going on, and I didn't want to stay at the Medina. It was one of the, and I would say 99.5 times out of 100, if I introduced, I stayed through the show. That one I told somebody, I said, well, I got to introduce this new guy, Keith Urban at the Medina. I'm going to kind of stand on the side, hear a song or two, and then pretend like I'm going to the bathroom and sneak out so I can meet you guys. Well, he came out, he played the first song, played the second song, and the guy's just wailing on the guitar. He's just killing it. I'm going, well, I'm going to stay for another one. And I never left. And so I did not leave because...
And it went badly with the girl.
Yeah, but it was worth it because, man, this guy is a special talent.
That's great. Okay, rapid fire. Desert Island songs. Your 5 songs you can take to a desert island. It's just you and, somebody to be with, let's say. Someone to sing to in my vernacular. 5 songs you would take to the desert island.
Doesn't have to be country.
No.
Right?
5 songs.
Okay. Heard It in a Love Song by Marshall Tucker.
Right. Okay.
One of my all-time favorites.
Number 1.
Sultans of Swing, Dire Straits.
Yes.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
There's a Gary Allan song I'm a huge fan called "Get Off on the Pain," which is so well written. I would have to have a Waylon song in there. I would probably go. Might be "Don't You Think This Outlaw Bit Done Got Out of Hand."
Well, you could put Waylon songs on a Lazy Susan and just take a different one every day.
Yeah,
we'll give you that one. That's number 4 and number 5.
I got to include a Black Hawk song. They've been a big part of my career, and I Sure Can Smell the Rain, I think, by Black Hawk is one of my favorites because I've been in that relationship. I get it. It's a great song.
I think
again,
some of us
very
have.
well written. So.
Well, man, what a great time spending time with the one and only Neil Freeman here at Total Country Bob FM. Thank you. And I love sound effects.
That was good. Right on your hotkeys.
Oh, yeah,
here.
I got it ready. So, guys, thank you so much, Neil Freeman here in Minnesota.
It was great.
Giving us a look inside of radio and what the world is like. Oh, we didn't even discuss how much money you make. I mean, gosh, you guys are rolling in the ones and fives, aren't you?
Yeah, but I've been lucky. I do enough other stuff. And being in the business this long, I've been able to raise my family and pay my bills and get out and do some fun stuff. So, and I've worked for 3 different owners here. I've never worked for a corporate ownership, and but our current owners have been really good to me, give me opportunity. There's endorsement money and there's sales and other things that I get to do.
That's great.
And I'm kind of on the how's my buddy Jeff Becker saying? I'm on the tail end of a mediocre career, and I've been lucky to do what I do.
Yes.
And, it's good. It's all good.
Oh, that's great. It's not about the money sometimes. I mean, Sonny Throckmorton, who wrote Cowboy Rides Away with Casey Kelly, I had the flip side song of that one, Any Old Time on George Strait. And he also wrote The Way I Am for Haggard, among other little things that he's written. Yeah. And he said, we could probably make a lot more money doing something else, but we can't because this is what we were born to do, and we've got to do what we do, and that's you.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It is. It's been a great career, and they're letting me kind of just do what my own thing now. So,
and you've introduced shows for me.
I have.
I mean, you've been down to the Chanhassen Theater, introduced us there, and I forget how many other places. And you're just super about that. And, it really means a lot when somebody like you or John Hines from CCO would come out and do an intro. It just means the world. So thank you again. And to all our listeners, keep sending in comments and requests and things like that. But we're going to keep adding to this series as we go. Your fresh new window into the world of music. And you know what, Neil? The rest of the day is easy. All you got to say is bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Hey, baby.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this show. We invite you to check out all the other episodes and share this channel with all of your friends. Until next time, peace.